guys, so I've been getting a lot of requests for like a full cloudy sky tutorial, so that's what I'm going to do for you today. This is a round stretch canvas by Fredericks. I'm going to be using several different mop brushes. These are from my local hobby shop. These are ColorbyFeliks. I'm also going to be using acrylic paint, ColorbyFeliks black and white. And I'm going to be using Viridian green and Alizarin crimson, and these are golden fluid acrylics. Now, it's not completely necessary to watch my acrylic blending tutorial in order to paint this, but it will help. I'm still going to explain everything that I'm doing for this painting, but there are some helpful tips that's in that other tutorial that would help you today. So the first thing you're going to need to do is you need to mix up your color for your clouds. I'm going to be using Viridian green and Alizarin crimson. So I'm going to go ahead and mix up my shadow color. That's the colors I'm going to have down here, like in the shadow areas for the clouds, and then it's going to be lighter around these edges, and I'm probably just going to paint the background black. So again, the first thing you want to do is mix up your cloud color, the shadow color of your clouds. I'm not concerned about the highlight color of the cloud because I'm going to get that highlight color from adding white. And I'm going to add that directly onto the canvas. I'm not going to mix anything for that. Make sure you've got plenty of your color mixed up. You don't want to have to go back and mix anything while you're trying to blend. And another little tip I have for you is get you just a little bit of white paint and mix it in with some of your shadow color, and that'll tell you what your highlight color is going to look like, and if you're happy with it, then you can move on. But this is so dark I can barely tell what color that even is, but when I start to add some white I can see that it's kind of purple, and that's not the look I was going for, so I'm going to add some more green. Make sure you have a cloth or something handy so that you can wipe off your brush while you're blending. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give this, the edges and this part of the sky, one coat of black paint. I'm going to go ahead and give it one more coat of paint because I still see some white canvas coming through that black. Alright, now I'm going to add my second layer of black paint right here along this edge, but I'm going to work in sections, okay, because I need this black paint to be wet when I start to paint this first part of the cloud. So I've got plenty of paint on my brush. Now I'm going to grab my color and I'm going to swirl right into that black. Now I'm going to take a clean and dry mop brush and I'm going to blend it. I'm going to add some black paint over here. Grab my color. It's pretty dark at this point, but once we start adding some white, you'll see it better. And I want these clouds to look like they're kind of far away, so they'll need to be dark. Make sure my brush is wiped off. And then I'll swirl. I'm going to go ahead and paint some of these darker areas, just wherever I want my shadow to be. Just sweep that a little bit. Now I've got my greenish color and some white paint, okay? And I'm gonna start back here. Not gonna start right at that edge, but I'm gonna start to swirl up into that green and black. Now with my brush, it's not completely clean at this point, but it's still pretty clean. I'm gonna swirl and blend that together. More green and white. Just swirling my brush around. And then swirl with a clean brush. Now a little more white. I'm using very light pressure when I do this blending part. I'm barely touching the canvas. I don't like the shape of this, so I'm going to change it. I'm going to go up here and add another big fluffy part. I don't want it to all look the same. I want it to be kind of, you know, I want it to look fluffy and just not perfect. Oops, wrong brush. Just swirl. Grab some more white. I'm gonna grab another clean brush just because I want this part to stay really light. And if I use the other brush that I was just using a second ago, it's got a lot of dark color on it, so I'm switching brushes. I want to pay extra attention to the bottoms of the clouds. I'm barely touching the top of the cloud when I blend, but at the bottom I'm applying a little more pressure. I'm going to grab some black. This is the black that I was using up here. And my dark brush. So I'm just going back and forth between these brushes. I've got multiple brushes going right now. I've got black, I've got my greenish color, I've got my dark blending brush, and then my lighter blending brush. And I'm just switching back and forth depending on what I'm blending or painting. You have to keep the paint wet the whole time, or it's going to be a lot harder to blend with acrylics. And you have to use a lot of paint. I feel like that's one of the biggest issues that people have when they're trying to blend with acrylic paint. They keep telling me, my paint's drying too fast. How do you keep your paint wet for so long? Well, use a lot of paint. Use extra paint. Whatever you think is enough paint, double it. And I promise it will probably work better. I'll switch to an even smaller brush. I picked up too much paint there. Now, I'm just going to barely tap some white. Same brush I've been using to add the color. I didn't add any more green to it, I just added some white. Now I'm going to just add a few little highlights. Don't want to overdo it. So I definitely don't want to have to do this again. I'm going to put a little moon about right here, and I got this stencil on Etsy from a company called Dog in a Box Design. They make custom stencils and they made this one for me. Really nice people at that company. I highly recommend that you check them out. I'll put the link to their shop in the description. This is a fine detail brush from Daco. And that's it. Pretty simple method once you kind of get the hang of the blending part. Again, I have that acrylic blending tutorial available. It would help you with this as well. That's about all I've got. So thanks for watching.